What's going on, everybody? My name's Dallas, and this is the place where we talk about food in and around Victoria, British Columbia. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about ice cream. And I'm with Dan in the, I don't know, what would you call this place? The ice cream studio? The headquarters?
Yeah.
49 Below. If you haven't had the ice cream, it's craziness. That's the best way I can describe it, because some of the flavors you have are unlike anything else. Like the one that stands out to me is the Cinnamon Toast Crunch sort of one. I forget what you call it though.
Cinnamon Crunch.
Cinnamon Crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to have a wide variety of pretty classic flavors and pretty out there flavors.
Yeah.
Try to have something for everybody.
Like the honeycomb one as well.
Honeycomb's now a classic, but it's one of our
Is it not a thing anymore?
No, we still make it.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife's favorite flavor is honeycomb with chocolate chip cookie dough bits.
Ooh.
So that's a flavor that's going to be coming out for our subscribers
That's
soon.
upcoming?
It's one of them. Yeah.
That's awesome. So how did you get into making ice cream?
That's a good story.
Yeah, let's just start with that.
Yeah. So I was working for the BC government. I was about 10 years in. My wife and I, we had our first child. We went to Europe, where I'm originally from, spent some time in Austria, and then went to Italy and having lots of gelato. And we were talking about, where we want to go with life. And I was pretty frustrated with my government job. And we thought, we're in Italy, we're like ice cream. I've made ice cream before. Maybe let's try this. So when she went back to work, I took some time off from my job. Started tinkering around with ice cream while taking care of my son. And this little passion became into a little passion project, which just kind of grew and grew and grew. So
it literally started on that trip.
It's the idea of it started on that trip. Yeah.
And so who brought it up first? Was it you or was it her?
Well, I think my wife is very business. She's got an MBA and always looking for opportunities. And she's like, you're not happy with what you're doing. You like to cook. You like making desserts. Why not try something else? And we're in a position where, she was going back to work. I could take some time off to spend some time with my son. He was still really young at that time. I had lots of, while he was napping, I could tinker around a bit, and that's how it all started. So
just messing around with it and just so when you first did it, did you try anything crazy with recipes, or were you just trying just straight normal basic stuff? Yeah.
So we were starting very basic. Your basic creme anglaise base. So most 99% of our ice cream is custard based. So it's dairy with eggs, sugar. And that is the foundation for everything else.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I was playing around with at first, trying to get that nailed down. And once you have that, then you can add in coffee, or you can add in cinnamon, and you can add in all these other things.
So how common is that custard base?
Well, most people kind of start with that. There's different varieties of ice cream bases, but that's one of the common ones. But some people use 3 eggs, some people use 5 eggs, some people use 1.5 cups, some people use 2 cups of cream. Right? It's dependent on what you like, and you go from there.
And so how long did it take for you to sort of get that process down where you got that base and you're like, this is something I can work with?
This is nailed.
Yeah.
It took several tries. Ice cream is a fine balance. You need to have enough sugar, you need to have enough fat, you need to have enough air when you churn it. And if one of those things is off, you could turn into having super icy, super hard ice cream. So you need to have a balance of all these things to make sure you've got smooth, creamy ice cream.
And so how long do you think that took though, this time wise, over the course of how long?
It probably took a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then and then that's when you were happy. You're like, okay, now I can start trying to experiment with this.
Yeah. So the problem with back then was I was using these little Cuisinart machines where you have a bowl that you throw in the freezer, and then you take it out and you churn, and then you have to wait 24 hours to have it freeze again, right? So you can do one batch a day. So it took a month because, a lot of time waiting for it to freeze.
I see.
So once we got bigger machines like this one over there, it's got a compressor built in. So you can just go batch after batch after batch. So once we have something like that, you can start experimenting a lot quicker, right?
So the compressor, so how does that work? What's the process of when you're using that machine, what's the whole process of the ice cream start to finish? So how does it go?
So the first step is we cook the ice cream. Because we use eggs, we have to cook it to a certain temperature. And then once we've cooked it, we put it in the fridge, and I like to let it sit overnight at minimum, just for everything to kind of settle in. You want to have it as cold as possible before putting it in the machine. And then it goes into the machine. My smaller two take about 20 minutes to churn. And once it's at that state, it's like a harder kind of soft serve consistency. And then you package it up, throw it in the freezer, and let it sit for minimum 12 hours. I like to let it sit overnight. And then at that time, we can
And so what does that do, letting it sit longer?
Well, so when you're churning,
Yeah.
We're getting into the science of it now.
Yes, do it. I want to go like deep, just like
Sure.
break it down.
So one of the ingredients of milk is water. So if we just take the ice cream base, we throw it in the freezer, the water crystals are going to form bigger and bigger crystals, and you're going to end up having a solid block of milk ice, basically. So when you're churning, be it in a Cuisinart home machine or one of these fancy machines, the outside base is what is like cooling the cream. But then you've got a paddle on the inside that's kind of scraping it consistently. So when the ice crystals are forming, the paddle breaks it up into smaller ice crystals, and then it forms more, and then it breaks it up more. So all ice cream is made out of little ice crystals, but what you want the smallest possible. So when let's say even if you buy Breyer's ice cream and you eat half a tub and then you let it sit out and it gets like watery and you throw it back in the freezer, it's going to be super icy because all the water crystals have now kind of melted. When you throw it back in there, they're going to form large ice crystals, right?
The thing about that too, when you buy some of the, I find bigger name stuff, you let it sit out, you now don't have a full tub of ice cream if you just let it sit. It's now shrunk down to a smaller size.
Absolutely. So this is another science fact. The two machines behind you, they have one speed of churning. The big machine behind you, I can set the speed at which it churns, which is important because if you spin quickly, every time you churn, you're adding air into it. That's what we talked about one time, like many years ago. Breyers, when they churn, I'm assuming they're churning super fast because, yes, you let the ice cream sit. You're driving home from from the grocery store. You come home, it's melted, and you've lost 30%, 40%. So what I do with the big machine, I try to slow it down as much as possible because I don't want a lot of air. So when I put 4 liters of base in, I might be getting 5 back just because the volume has increased because of the air. But Breyers, for instance, if they put 4 liters in, they probably get 8 liters back, right? So it's from a dollar and cents perspective. Yeah, I can see why you want to do that, right? Put a little in, get lots out. But for me, it's a texture thing, right? Like I don't want that super airy, fluffy ice cream. I want like solid, like smooth, solid ice cream, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the differences between like someone like us producing small scale versus one of the larger producers.
Sure. So one cool thing you were showing me here, talking to me about before we started, is that you do have the 3 machines now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see sort of that, I guess, that evolution of like 49 Below.
Absolutely.
Is that you have like the small one, then it's like the one that's a little bit bigger, and then you have the big boy over here.
Well, I'll show you the paddles because the paddles are kind of the cool thing. Like you see the difference in scale from the small one to the big one. It's night and day. Like the two smaller ones, I can produce way less and it takes me 25 minutes to churn. Whereas the big one, I can do a batch in like 5 minutes. And
so that big one, you said you do it at a slower speed.
Yeah.
So is it turning at a slower speed or churning than the other two were?
The other two are running as slow, like they only have one speed and it's slower than that machine can actually go.
Okay.
But I'm running it as slow as I can on that one. So yeah, the max setting is 2.5 times faster than what I'm churning at.
And do you have a sort of another machine that you're eventually going to go up to or want to go up to?
Yeah, I'd like to get that one in the next size up.
And would it be like another jump if you look at the 3 machines? Like they all kind of like a little incremental size. Would the next one be sort of another incremental size?
It takes twice as much.
Okay.
And it's twice as expensive. So yeah, it's definitely an investment.
Yeah,
but
of course.
When COVID kind of hit, our numbers went way up, and I wouldn't be able to produce as much if I didn't have that machine. So it's an investment that has already paid off for itself, right?
And I got to say, this space is pretty wild.
Yeah, this is my single car garage conversion into my commercial kitchen.
What did that feel like when you went from like the shared kitchen and then into your own space?
It was amazing. The I was talking with Taylor from Siren Chocolate, and we were talking about kitchen space, and he was like, "Oh, I've got one in my backyard." And I'm like, "I didn't know you could do that." And then I told my wife this, and she's like, "Well, why don't we do this in the garage?" And I started looking into that, and I talked to Saanich, and they had no issue with it. And I talked to Viha, and they had no issue with it. And I talked to CRD, and they had no issue with it. I'm like, let's do this. So it, from the planning stage to getting everything done, was super fast. And I don't know if you noticed, but like I did all the plumbing externally. So I didn't have to like cut through drywall. Same thing with the power. It's all done externally. So I can just plug things in. If I don't like where those plugs are, I can just move it. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was way cheaper than I thought it was going to be. And now I can produce whenever I want, right?
Yeah, like I guess if you're bored or something and you want to go make some ice cream, you just go and make some ice cream.
Yeah, so in the summertime, like my wife was working full time. With COVID, my kids were at home. So I was here, made dinner at 5. She would come home. We would tag team. I would leave. I'd come here till 1 a.m, 2 a.m. And, she would put the kids to bed and do all that kind of stuff. But this allows me to come whenever I have time to come here and just work.
I think it's awesome. Like people just driving down the street or whatever.
No idea.
They would have no idea. It's like this almost like this, like not a science lab, but like this factory that's churning out this amazing stuff is right there.
Yeah, I love it. It's getting small. We could use another freezer, and we could use, maybe another machine, and we're running into some like space limitations.
Yeah.
Especially in the summertime, we had another person in here. Like we would tag team the cooking, and it's tight for 2. I can't imagine having more than 2 in here.
Yeah.
But for now, it works great.
And the name 49 Below.
Yeah. So
how did that come?
So I'm a geography nerd. That's one thing I was doing for the BC government, working with geography and geographic data. And so we in Victoria are located below the 49th parallel. And I thought, I want a name that kind of ties to Victoria. And that just came to mind. And
okay. Yeah. See, I was thinking, did it have something to do with temperature?
That's what most people.
But I also know the 49th parallel. So yeah. I don't know. I did. So that's cool then to know where that comes from.
Yeah.
And you have the mascot as well.
Yeah. So the mascot, we started with the octopus.
Yeah, exactly. The octopus.
Yeah. So the octopus is kind of a 3-pronged thing for us. One is I studied biology, and octopuses are always something that was fascinating with me. The giant Pacific octopus is in our waters here. And then my wife and I also got married at the Sydney Aquarium, and there was a big one there. So it's just all kind of ties together into that.
Is that what the octopus is that's down at Ogden Point?
Do
you know?
I believe, I've seen one by the breakwater.
Yeah. You've actually seen it?
I've seen one. Yeah. But they're all around here in the Salish Sea. So.
And when you come up with a flavor that you want to do, how long does it take you to get an idea to actually having like a product that you're like, I could sell this?
So sometimes first try, sometimes it takes a couple tries. We just did the Asia series, and we did White Rabbit.
Yes. My girlfriend really wanted to try some of that.
That sold out quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did one batch, and that didn't turn out as much as I wanted to. So we did another one, and then we were happy with that. So we kind of rolled with that recipe.
But it's so cool with some of the stuff you've done, like the one that you did marshmallows with.
Yeah.
Like when you put the marshmallow in the ice cream, it was still a marshmallow. It didn't change form or anything.
Yeah. And that's one of the things when you freeze, like you always got to think about how is that going to freeze? You can't just throw apples in ice cream because it's going to freeze solidly. You have to manipulate it. You have to do certain things to it, right? Strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, like they have so much water in them when you just throw them into the freezer or into your ice cream. It's going to be a solid block. You're going to break your teeth, right? So you have to cook it or add sugar or do all these different things with it.
And it's different for every single thing?
Yeah. Like strawberries, we handle different than blueberries. We handle different than rhubarb. We handle different than orange and that kind of stuff.
And is this all just by trial?
Yeah. A lot of trial and error. I love reading books, like ice cream books. I've read them all. And like, take ideas from here and there. And I also love I went to dinner at Nowhere one time, and they had this burrata it was a dish with burrata, almonds, brown butter. I forget what else. Oh, and maple. I think it was maple syrup. And I was like, well, that's an idea for an ice cream. So I took my ice cream base, I blended in burrata, I dehydrated some maple syrup, threw in some almonds. And I'm like, this is the dish that I had at Nowhere in an ice cream form.
Did you let them try it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, those people, they're my inspiration, right? Like I love getting feedback from people like Clark and that whole team there, because these are people I look up to. And I'm like, if they can try my ice cream and like give me feedback or they like it, it's amazing for me. So
there was one dish I had there that I think Laura came up with, and she had done it based on the whole the whole Nowhere team came with me to Wrap and Roll, and they had a dessert there. So she actually made a dessert for Nowhere based on the thing she had at Wrap and Roll.
Cool.
Which is cool. It's really awesome when you try something and it inspires you that much that you're like, this has to happen in some other form that maybe no one's ever done this before.
That's what you strive for, right?
100%.
So
do you have any flavors that have eluded you that like you tried and you just couldn't get?
There's this infamous one that I did that I thought, in my mind, I thought this was going to be working out great and ended up not working out at all. It was a maple ice cream with pancake bits.
Okay.
That eluded me.
It didn't work.
It didn't work because the pancakes just crumbled in the ice cream, and I didn't test it out as much as I should have. But that's something I want to get back to, is just tinkering with that one. I want to nail that one.
So how many tries did you give on that one so far?
I think 3.
Okay.
I need to keep going.
So it's just basically the pancake bits that needs to be figured out.
Yeah. I have some ideas. I think we're going to nail it.
So this is chemistry now.
Yeah. It's just, chemistry, trial and error.
And how many different flavors would you say you've done in total? Do you have a list somewhere?
I do have a list. I have a list of like all the flavors we've done for subscribers.
Yeah.
Because we've been doing this for 5 years now, almost. So we've probably done over 100 flavors for that alone. And then probably on our own, another 100, 200.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. So the numbers getting up there.
And do you have any ones that sort of stand out for you?
There's certain, I like ice cream with like bits in it. Like Cinnamon Crunch has those bits in it. We did a chocolate ice cream with almond brittle. That was very good. I'm starting to go to more like the weirder ones, like the Hawkins cheesy one. I don't know if you tried that.
No.
So it's just a weird flavor, but it works so well.
I got to say too, like when you put on social media, like a photo, like teasing an upcoming flavor, like the photos that you put up are like so enticing. Like it just makes you like I did see the cheesy one.
Yeah.
And like it just like in my brain kind of exploded a little bit, where like I freaked out a little bit inside. I know you do a really good job though with the teasers.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got a little shout out from my co-op. I hired a UVic co-op this summer, Alex, and she's been doing an awesome job on the social media side. So she's been taking a lot of pictures and doing a lot of that content. Yeah,
the social media is outstanding, and the website is outstanding.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's something we redid this summer. So we've just switched over to Shopify, I think in June, July. So that's a little growing curve, like learning curve on that one. But
of course. And so is that you maintaining?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, before summertime and I had Alex join the team, this is all a one-person operation.
This whole time?
This whole time. Yeah. So this summer I had her join, and then a girl helped me in the kitchen cook. And a friend of mine has been helping deliver some ice cream. But other than that, it's more or less me. My parents have helped out, and my wife and her parents have helped out too here and there. But it's a lot of me.
And as far as features go, because you've done a lot of different like partnerships with different businesses and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. How does that come about? Do people just approach you, or do you reach out to people, or
for like ice cream flavors? Or,
yeah.
We'll enjoy doing those.
Mm-hmm.
And so we often are the ones going out there and looking for opportunities. We've done a few things with Sydney Scones.
The ice cream you did for Israel's dinner that he did at Harvest Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. Paired with the Sydney scone. Yeah.
I wish I could have gone for that.
It was a really, really good time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I mean, you have the scone witches.
Yeah,
That's what they're called, right?
scone witches. I think so.
The scone
I
witch.
forget what she ended up calling it, but
How many of those have there been? The scone witches.
we did a raspberry, salted caramel, a lime, a peach. I think four.
So
or
who
five.
initiates that? Like, do you come up with the ice cream first? Does she come up with the scone first?
She usually comes up with the flavor. She's like, I'm thinking about doing A, B, and C. Could you do this flavor? I'm like, absolutely. So it's, yeah, she comes up with some great ideas.
And with 49 Below, what would you say sort of makes the ice cream unique or different from other ice creams?
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot, and it's a very difficult one for me to answer because I think all the smaller ice cream companies here in Victoria, we try to do the same kind of thing. We, small batch, we try to use local ingredients, seasonal ingredients. Our model of sale is a little different. Like since day one, we've had a subscription where we deliver pints straight to your door, which came in really handy during COVID because the delivery model is something we've been doing since day one.
And you said you found that the numbers went up?
Our numbers are way up this year. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, no, COVID has been good for our business.
And again, I really think that places that were already sort of established as having delivery or takeout, I think everyone I talk to, then they seem to say the numbers have gone up since COVID.
Yeah, we hit the ground running, and for us it worked out really well. But I hope more businesses kind of can pivot to that kind of business model where you can do more takeout or like pick up and that kind of stuff. So our food, our product travels fairly well.
Yeah.
Some of these higher end restaurants, their meals are made to be eaten then, right?
Of course.
So it's a little bit more tricky, but for us, it's been pretty good this year.
And so what would you say makes it unique? I think I cut you off on that.
Well, we try to do things. We started off trying to do things a lot by things we've experienced on our travels.
Yeah. Like
the first flavor we did was Vietnamese coffee. And I try to incorporate a lot of like flavors that I've had throughout my travels, while still using localish ingredients.
And do you have any flavors that there's like a cool story behind? Like that you got the idea from a certain travel, like a travel story or anything like that?
Yeah, I did. Well, we did this weird one that we probably won't be doing again. It was coconut palm sugar ice cream, which is great. But then we added a fish sauce caramel, which is like Vietnamese inspired. And it was a weird, salty, sweet flavor based on something we had when we were traveling there. So that's probably like one of the weirder travel inspired ones.
Okay. And you mentioned the subscription stuff that you do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2 pints a month, right?
2 pints a month. Yeah.
And they're just random.
Well, so when we started, we did 2 different pints. Every month was different. And after like 6 months, we sent a survey out to our subscribers and just said, how do you think this is going? Would you like to see some flavors more often? And we had all the flavors we'd done up to that point, and we had people rank them, and we looked at them, and most people enjoyed the chocolate, the vanilla, the mint chocolate. So we thought, well, why don't we create a staple series of those 6, feature those every month, rotating, and then the second flavor is something unique. So the 6 flavors rotate, and then the second flavor is always different every month.
And it still continues in that system?
Yeah. So
I do have to say too that you said you like ice cream with the chunks of something in it.
Yeah.
And I have to agree. Like I love mint chocolate chip ice cream, but I don't really care for like just mint mixed in with chocolate. There's something about the actual chocolate chip that I really like.
It's a texture thing, right? Like we like something smooth, something crunchy, something. It's having that different texture.
It's really satisfying.
Yeah.
And do you ever get subscribers that say, "Hey, can you make a certain flavor?"
Definitely. And
or just get in general, there's people asking.
Yeah, we get hit up on Instagram all the time. Like, we would like to see this and that. Like Black Sesame, when we just did, like we've had several requests for that. So when we sat down, we decided we were going to do this Asia travel series. We're like, well, we have to make a Black Sesame. And that was basically based on a lot of questions from subscribers or just people who follow us on Instagram.
And how many people or how many different flavors were in that series?
There was a 3-pack. So we did Vietnamese coffee, one of our staples, the white rabbit, and black sesame.
Yeah, people love that Vietnamese coffee flavor.
It's one, like if I had to pick one, I would always go back to that.
That's the one.
I love Vietnamese coffee. It is just like smooth and it is sweet, but it's just that smooth and like coffee flavor that I love so much. So if I had a choice of all my ice cream, I'd probably still sneak a scoop of that in.
That's awesome.
The white rabbit is up there now though.
Okay. So is that white rabbit going to come back?
Yeah. So we've added that to our website as a standalone pint now.
Okay.
We sold out like within the first couple hours. So when I get my containers in, hopefully tomorrow, we're going to be making more of that. So
that's now just going to be one on the website. Someone could just order.
Yeah. So because a lot of people keep requesting certain flavors over and over and over again, we've decided we were going to add those to the website as a kind of a standalone. So you can still purchase the subscription. It's kind of roll of the dice. You see what you get. And then you can also add on some of the staple flavors, honeycomb, cookie dough. Those things will be coming soon. So,
and then I guess that works well for you because you know how many you have to make because people have already ordered it.
Yeah. So for the subscription, it's really nice. And that's one of the reasons I started with subscriptions, because I was renting a kitchen space. I knew exactly, okay, I have 50 people subscribed. I need to have X liters of milk, sugar, cream, all that stuff.
Were you in stores at that point? Like when you first started?
When I first started, I was doing subscription.
It was only subscription, right?
Only subscription. Because I was still working part-time at that time.
How much of a challenge was that to sort of get, like starting with that model?
Yeah.
How quickly did it sort of ramp up for you?
I think the first month we had 20 people sign up.
That's really good. I think
it's not bad for like,
yeah. How did
50
you get
people on Instagram following us? And
how did you get those people?
The first thing I did when I started was I sent out a news release. Don't know if that was the right thing to do, but that's the first thing I did.
Well, you must have had to have been.
Well, it worked out, and then it was amazing to see because like the first couple of people who signed up were my parents and friends, but then having the first person to sign up that I didn't know, that was mind-boggling. Like to go from that to that point was just incredible. And take it a step further now, seeing people post stuff on Instagram, like they went to the root cellar and they bought some ice cream sandwiches and they posted about it. Like I never thought we're going to be here, right?
It's the wildest thing, isn't it?
It's bizarre.
Like when somebody you don't know,
totally, like
another human being in the city somewhere, they love something you make.
Yeah. And
then you see them show appreciation. That's pretty wild.
It's amazing. So we started with 20 and then quickly went to 30 and 40 and up from there. But now like the wholesale portion, which we started probably 6 months after we started, is kind of, that's our bread and butter now. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And so how many different spots are you in now?
6.
And are they all local? Is there anywhere outside of Victoria?
No. So we're pretty local-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you want to name them, I guess, if anybody's listening and
they're yeah,
nearby?
That's good. So Peppers down in Caddy Bay, Slater's Meats, Market Garden, Toot to Sweet, Root Cellar, Beauregard Cafe in Brentwood. And we also sold at Seasider during the summertime.
Okay.
If I forget someone, I'm sorry.
And you used to do the markets.
I used to do the markets.
Is that going to be a thing still, or?
For me, the markets were very hit and miss. It
seemed like at Oakland sometimes you'd be killing it.
Yeah.
And then I'd come back the next week and you'd just be like, it's not really happening today.
Yeah. The first year we were at Oakland's, we were killing it. I don't know if it was just weather or what, but we were doing really well, selling out almost every time. And then the next year might have been weather related or, there was a lot more competition. It just didn't do it. And like going to a market with ice cream is challenging. Just, being there to set up, having dry ice, getting there, all that stuff is a bit of a challenge. And when it's overcast and nobody wants ice cream, it's 4 hours for nothing, right? So I could spend that time making more ice cream for stores or subscriptions.
And actually, you were at the Brayfoot market.
I did that.
Yeah. Was that the first one you did?
I did Oakland's 1 year, and then the next year I did, I forget now, I think Sydney Market, I did Bravefoot for a couple weeks.
Oh, so you're out in Sydney too.
Yeah. The Sydney one was nice because, tons of people come out to that.
Yeah.
But again, tons of competition as well, right? And we had a lot of overcast days and rainy days out there. So.
And now you have ice cream bars.
Yeah. So last year we started that, and that is bananas.
When did that start?
So that started, I think 2 years ago, just after we finished the market season. I started dabbling with that, nailing like the cookie recipe. And then last year, we started selling it in stores. And then last year, closer to the end of the summer, I was like, I cannot keep up with making the cookies. So we had to look at like other options. That's when we approached Wildfire to make our cookies.
Oh, so they're the ones that are making the cookies now.
Yeah. And we just every week we get 1,000 cookies, 2,000 cookies, and just assemble, ship out. So,
are the cookies like the same as the ones you were making?
Yeah. So I gave them my recipe, and they're the baker, know how to like pump these cookies out. They've got the machines that I don't have. I don't even have an oven in here anymore, so I can't produce them now. So
how long did it take you to get the cookie recipe down?
That took a couple tries, probably a month. Yeah. It took several attempts.
Okay.
And then playing with baking time and thickness of cookies, and that kind of stuff.
Are you ever going to just have like 49 below cookies?
Just the cookies?
Just the cookies?
Maybe.
Could that be something?
Maybe. You never know. I like the cookies that we have are kind of like the old school, like ice cream sandwiches you get at like, the corner store, but elevated cookies with elevated ice cream. So. And
do you have flavors that are only in the sandwiches versus like the pints?
Yeah. So we do, like the cookie dough ice cream is only in the sandwiches for sale in stores. We did a strawberry ice cream sandwich this year. I've also got some labels done up that are like generic, so I can write in the name, write in the nutritional information once we come up with a new flavor that we want to pump out. But I just ran out of all my labels, so I just put another huge order in. So
you're out of containers and out of labels.
I'm out of everything. So yeah, I'll show you my freezer later. It's pretty embarrassing right now. So.
That's okay. Works good. Our business is good, doing good.
Well, it's good.
And I saw that you have at-home kits now.
Yeah, so that's kind of a fun thing we just started this summer. I was talking to some friends, and they're like, why don't you sell these at-home kits? I'm like, well, how many people actually have ice cream makers at home? And so I asked some people on Instagram, and it's quite a few actually do. So, so we came up with these ice cream kits where you get the base packaged in these little poly bags. We ship it with sprinkles and chocolate sauce and some honeycomb bits, and instructions to how to make it in an ice cream maker if you have one at home. Or we give them, I think, 6 different options if you want to make it at home using a glass mason jar, or you might remember from like preschool days where you have it like in a little bag with a bag of ice and you shake it until it gets a little harder and then you throw it in the freezer. So different ways of making it at home, but we provide you with all the ingredients and you can go at it.
That's crazy. And so like that recipe, is it similar to what you're doing then? It's
exactly like we make a big batch of base and then we siphon some off for at-home kits. So if you order it, like you're going to get a fresh base that, we could be churning into our own machine. It's exactly the same thing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So you can get like quality ice cream with little effort at home.
Do you think you would ever do some type of like class or something?
Yeah, I'd love to. I've had some people in here pre-COVID. It was like a father-daughter. He was like, I'd love to show my daughter how to make ice cream. I'm like, well, okay, come on by. So we set them up. We got 2 little cook stations there. They had their own mixers, and they made 1 quart of base each, and then we churned it pretty much right away, and they could add in whatever they wanted to. And they came prepared with like chocolate bars that they chopped up and crumbled into the ice cream, and they walked away with 2 pints each. And so it's cool to see, like, especially a child like learning it right away and running with the concept. And
that's really cool.
Yeah. So I'd love to do that more. The space is a little limited here, but it's definitely something
at some point, maybe in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I took a macaron making class at Bon Macaron.
Yeah.
And that kind of is the same idea. Like just pile into a room. They show you how it's made. You walk away with some product, and everybody has a good time. So I would like to do that here. So
That would be amazing. And I did do a class as well with Christine at Cultured Kombucha.
oh, cool, yeah.
And she had a kombucha making class, and she sends you home with enough to be able to make 2 batches.
Yeah, my wife did that course too. She loved it. So
Does she still do the kombucha?
not right now, but I think once our basement was a little too warm, I had a couple bottles explode.
Oh, okay. Was it okay?
Well, there's glass shards everywhere, but
Because Christine talked about that. She said that like you want to put them inside a rubber container with a lid.
Yeah, so we did that, and then once it got moved, I guess for the second fermentation, into the fridge, and that's where it all went down.
That's where it happened.
So yeah, we opened the fridge up, and there's this kombucha pouring out. But
okay, but at least it was in the fridge.
It was in the fridge.
It wasn't on your counter or something.
No.
Okay.
But she did mention that, put it into like a Rubbermaid container. And so it's a good tip.
And with ice cream, what in your opinion goes into like a really, really, really good ice cream? Is there like one thing you can think of that's above all else?
Like for me, it's funny, like we use egg yolks. And like you can totally tell the difference if you have like on the quality of the egg yolk. Because that transfers into like the richness of the ice cream. So it's also a color. Like if you get like a dark orange egg yolk, you can notice that in the end result. So like the egg yolks is for me like what gives it that richness, and that's one thing like I always look for is nice eggs.
So do you ever make like really, really like expensive stuff for yourself? Like super expensive eggs or something crazy?
No, I eat what I pump out for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't do ever like duck eggs ever or something like super rich?
I've never done that. I've done some crazy flavors for like my family and some friends, but never like I use the same ingredients for all my ice cream.
Okay. I'd be curious what duck eggs would be like.
Well,
because I think that would be because like the eggs when you have them, they're pretty different.
They're
larger. They're larger. They're a lot more a lot richer.
Okay.
Like a lot.
Well, you can try it out.
They're incredible, and like I've whenever I do like egg salad sandwiches, I put way too many eggs on it.
That's good. It's the best part. Like and mayo and
oh yeah, I'll make 2 sandwiches and I'll use 8 eggs just between 2, and then like you're eating it and there's like an inch of like egg between the 2 pieces of bread.
It's the best part.
And it's falling out the side. It's Absolutely. Just a mess. But yeah, using duck eggs, you definitely can't put 8.
I should try that. It's something to try. No emu eggs like the big ones, but
yeah, nothing like that. That'd be too much.
Like that. But yeah, duck eggs, we can try that.
Do you have stuff upcoming for the future that you have in mind that you want to implement for 49 Below?
Yeah. So so that Asian series we just launched, there's like a travel inspired series. We want to do more of those.
So you'll choose like a different geographical area,
yeah,
and do it based on that.
Yeah. So I have a list of ideas. Several of them are like travel inspired. Mm-hmm. And then there's a whole slew of other like 3-pack series that we want to do in addition to like our monthly stuff. Just like we're with our subscriptions based on the demographic that we're selling to, we're trying to keep it pretty mellow.
Yeah. With
these series, we want to take it a little bit further, a little bit crazier.
And you'll just release those sort of just randomly?
Yeah. So we have no set schedule, but.
And like, would you ever do them like not just based on like maybe travel or geographical location, but do it based on I don't know, like a character or like a TV series?
Sure.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if you can put the actual name of it, but like inspired by a certain type of like movie or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we have like the Hawkins cheesy. We're going to do one in kind of that direction. We're going to do some. We've had a lot of requests for like cereal inspired things.
Yeah,
so we're working on that.
Have you done cereal ice cream?
Yeah, I was going to churn some earlier, and I just ran out of time. But we did a Lucky Charm one.
Ooh,
last year, which was fun. It was it's a lot of work because we bought several cases of that. Had to separate all the marshmallows out, and then we steeped the steeped the cereal in the ice cream. And then strained that out, churned it, and then added the marshmallows in afterwards.
And so when you did that, like, did the final result, did it taste like Lucky Charms?
Yeah.
It did?
Yeah. This is the beautiful thing about ice cream. It's like this canvas that you can add anything to. You can add any spice to it. You can add Like you can fuse it with anything, tea, anything. So it's this beautiful thing. And cereal is just like when you drink the milk after you've eaten all the cereal, like that taste is what you get in ice cream.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the cereal milk.
It's beautiful.
It's like when I was at Babes, and I mentioned, I think Malcolm, I mentioned about cereal milk kombucha, and he made, like, they went and bought, I think Fruit Loops that night, and then the next day he's making Fruit Loop kombucha.
Yeah, kombucha is another thing where you can just infuse anything into it, right?
It's the same base,
Yeah,
and then you just add some stuff to it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you have any ideas for ice cream that you could do that might be just totally out there? Like a new direction that you could go or make that's like almost something nobody's ever done. Can you think of anything that would work in that regard?
I have a list of flavors, ideas that I haven't tackled yet, but I want to. And some of them are kind of weird and I don't know if people have done them.
Like I had a piece of pie on the weekend that was lime avocado, and that was really interesting.
Yeah, avocado. I've seen that in like brownies and stuff like that. Like I don't know if it's a substitute for, but it's a fat, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah. So
it's something you can probably easily incorporate into like rich fatty ice cream too. Yeah, I'd like to play with some spirits. And I also want to play like more savory side too.
Yeah. What would a savory ice cream be like?
Like this one idea that Salt and Straw, it's a ice cream company from Portland. They've now gone all across like the Northwest and down to California as well. But they do this one. It's a turkey gravy caramel ice cream. And I've had it before, and it's just like you think this is such a bizarre flavor, but it's like turkey skin that they've crisped up, and it actually stays nice and crispy. I don't know how they did that. And then they make this like turkey caramel that they kind of swirl into it, and that's more like a savory. It's still sweet, but like you got savory notes in that too, and like root vegetables, like yams and that kind of stuff. You can turn that into like more savory style ice cream, and then you can add in herbs and that kind of stuff to kind of take it more in that direction.
Some type of like sweet potato ice cream.
Yeah,
like yam fry ice cream.
Yeah, yam fry ice cream.
Have you ever done that?
I've not. Something to try.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, Parmesan ice cream. Like we've done prosciutto. We've did ham.
Have you traveled at all and seen other like producers and see how they operate?
Not in the kitchen.
Okay.
But I mean, I've tried to like hit up all the like Vancouver and Seattle and Portland ones. I'd love to go and work there if I could. Yeah, there's a couple in New York I'd love to work at, but
and just go and see sort of how they operate.
Yeah. I mean, I'd always like to see like, what is their base like? Is it similar to mine? Is it different than mine? I don't know. How do they incorporate flavors, and how do they all this, like what machines do they use? Because like when I bought my machine, I'm like, I had to do all the research myself. There's no like website, like start your ice cream business, figure out what machine to buy. Like I called up all these different manufacturers and trying to get the best price, and until I ended up with my machine. So it'd be curious to see what other people are doing, but
so it's very organic what you're doing here.
Yeah.
I kind of feel it's like this podcast because I didn't really look up how to do this.
You learn.
I'm like, I know I need these parts. And then I just started researching, well, what makes sense for me for what I'm doing.
Well, that's cool. Like it's very mobile, how you can set it up anywhere.
Yeah. And like this board that I have that we're recording into, I was going to buy a really small, a very different one. And this Zoom L8 happened to be coming out. I was already looking into the stuff for about 3 weeks, and then I saw that this thing was going to be coming out. So I'm like, oh, I'll just get that.
Well,
and it's worked out. It's worked out beautifully. This unit is incredible. Like you could do like full concerts.
Yeah, like 6 microphones, mixing board. Like it's pretty cool. All self-contained.
Yeah, you just run it off USB power. You could be in the middle of a field.
Well, it's just crazy because I was like, okay, well, how are we going to do the power here? Because we've got a jack up there, but
yeah, no, we don't have to worry about that. No, no, this unit is absolutely incredible, and this whole, like we were talking about earlier, there's maybe some type of interference here, I think, with the electricity, and it's making little sounds in the audio, but it's like when you go into spots like this, I think it's way cooler to be in the actual spot where the thing's being made
Totally.
than just to be in a studio somewhere. Like the sound quality might be better,
Yeah.
but there's something authentic and there's something about it. Like I kind of feel like spaces sort of have like a almost like a personality on some level.
It's weird being in here and it's so quiet. Because
Yeah.
usually like the machines are going or like the stovetop's on. And it's like there's always stuff going on, but like it's so quiet in here.
So it's a little bit different.
It's very weird.
You can appreciate it in a different light.
Totally. Like I told you, like I come in here, put my headphones on, I listen to podcasts, I start churning. And
So which podcast do you listen to?
I like a lot of like political stuff.
Okay.
I listen to like the New York Times. They do this like every morning at 7 or 6, they come up with this like 15-minute, like high level, what's going on in the world. Then who else? A lot of NPR stuff. Like true crime stories. Like I listen to your podcast.
Thank you.
Joe Rogan.
Yep.
Every once in a while. What else? Shopify has a podcast about like e-commerce stuff.
Oh, really?
Which is quite interesting. And they just interview entrepreneurs who use that platform and talk about how they've grown their business and that kind of stuff.
And what's worked for them as far as their strategy?
Yeah. And it's cool because they look at, you know, people who sell t-shirts and people who sell eyelash extensions and, you know, the huge like gamut of people. But it's just, you know, you pick up little things from here and there. And Endure Socks, if you know them, they're from here in Victoria.
No.
They've got a podcast, which is kind of cool.
And what's that one on?
So they started a sock company here in town. It's like performance socks with like cool designs. But he brings on people who are either athletes or other business people. They run Dragon's Den. So they bring in other Dragon's Den people and just talk about their business, and especially now with COVID, like how they're adjusting. So it's interesting.
It's pretty, it's very interesting how COVID has impacted everyone in a different way.
Totally.
Like with you, you said it's really boosted the business up.
Yeah, from business perspective, it's been great. From a family perspective, it's been rather challenging. You know, I've got 2 little kids. They were both supposed to be in childcare or in preschool, and then that stopped in March. And then I was at home with 2 kids. My wife was working full time still, so it was pretty challenging. And then business was picking up.
At that time, though, it was still just you.
Yeah, it was just me. Yeah, totally. So in March, things started to ramp up. So then, you know, my wife would come home from work. We would have dinner together as a family, and we would kind of tag team. And she would, you know, put the kids to bed. And I would come here and start churning.
Until what time?
1, 2, you know, and then go inside and do emails and do that kind of stuff. And then, you know, wake up 6, and then she would go off to work, and then I'd be at home with the kids. And my mom was super helpful during that time and came over and you know, helped a couple hours here and there. But it was, from that standpoint, COVID was pretty rough, but from a business standpoint, it worked out well. But
And now things are more manageable.
yeah, so both kids are at school now, and so I've got some more help in the kitchen. So things are calming down.
Awesome. Yeah, you can get a little bit more sleep.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
sleep is so important. So
It is.
ideally,
Ideally, how much would you be sleeping ideally?
8 hours,
Okay, you're like me.
7-8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. Pre-COVID, I was going to the gym at 6 a.m. So get up at like 5:30 and you know, we'd probably sleep 6-7 hours, but like solid 8 hours is great.
So like, what's your ideal sleep time? Like for me, it would be like 10 p.m. I never go to bed at 10. I'm always up late.
Totally.
Like I was up working on next week's episode till 2 a.m. last night, but it would be go to bed at 10, get up at 6 would be like my ideal.
Yeah, I love getting up early. Like now that I'm out of this cycle,
Yeah.
I'm getting up later and later, and it's not good. I miss getting up at like 5:30, going to the gym, getting that out of the way.
Which gym would you go to?
I go to TFA, it's the Fitness Academy.
Okay.
So they do these like HIIT classes.
Is that the one that's underneath Wheelies?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So they've just opened up a second location where they've moved the strength and conditioning to. I was going there 5 days a week, and then when COVID hit, I was doing some stuff at home, and I buggered up my back. So I haven't been doing anything since then.
Dude, I've been having some back issues lately and sleeping, waking up every hour some nights.
It's horrible.
Just because it hurts, and it's Yeah, it's awful when you wreck your back.
Yeah. So mine, I injured my back in 2001 playing soccer. Herniated 2 discs, and then ended up having surgery in 2011. And like when early April, it was looking like surgery was the route we were going down again.
This year,
yeah. So like the first, like April, May, June, July, it's been pretty rough, and now luckily like physios are open again. I can get like treatment once a week, and
yeah. So how's that feeling now?
It's night and day.
Okay.
Like I can get out of bed semi pain free.
So not only were you having to look after your kids, but your back was all messed.
That was horrible. Yeah. So yeah, and that was like, having a chronic injury on top of like everything else going on in the world was not the ideal situation, right? Like very short tempered, just because you're in constant pain, right? You can't do anything. You can't play around with your kids the way you want to, just because every time you move, you're like, am I going to fall down, crumble to the ground? Just agony, right? So
yeah,
I'm glad things have kind of stabilized a bit.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of people, or pretty much everybody, has to be operating at a higher stress level than normal.
Well, and even like I noticed that with my kids who are like, they've got no responsibilities really. It's all about play. But like this whole COVID thing, not being around their friends, their routines going out of whack. Like everybody, like their stress level, their anxiety is just through the roof right now. Like I'm so happy that they're back at school, around friends, getting into a routine. Like it's the last couple of weeks has been great. So
for them, do they acknowledge like stranger danger kind of thing, like stay away from everybody?
My son, he knows what COVID is. He knows what the virus is. He knows what the symptoms are. And, the other day he's like, I've got a scratchy throat. And I was like, okay, you've also got allergies, but he's very aware of what it is. And he likes wearing his mask, which I thought was going to be a huge issue. But like when we go to the grocery store or something, he puts his masks on. He does gymnastics, puts his mask on in the car, walks to gymnastics. He knows the whole routine of washing your hands, and he's been doing really well with that. So,
and you were mentioning that you were going to try and start a podcast at one point.
Yeah, that was a venture that didn't go very far. But
what was the idea with that one?
So, are you familiar with the Jerry Seinfeld 2 comedians in a car getting coffee?
Yeah, you basically they have coffee and they just sort of talk about whatever, right?
Totally. So a friend of mine, he owns a coffee shop here in town, Savory Cafe. And we were kind of thinking about, we should do a podcast. This was probably a year ago. And so we got all the equipment and tried it out, and it just didn't go as planned. It was, once you get in front of the microphone, like some people, even though they're very outgoing, kind of get less outgoing, kind of freeze up a bit. And both of us kind of felt a little bit awkward just sitting in front of each other and talking like this.
Yeah, I still get it. Like when I first start these things, it takes me like 5, 10, whatever minutes until I really sort of settle into it. I always feel a little bit off for some reason at the start of these.
Well, and you are also going to like somebody else's space, right? Like
that's true. I never thought about that.
So it's like you're always kind of on your toes. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I that's actually a good point, because like if I've been in a restaurant before and I'm going somewhere, maybe fine. But like here, probably my subconscious is like picking up all the stuff around me.
Totally. But it's also like, making sure you got the right cable connected to the right thing, and
Yeah, you saw how much I was making sure everything's working.
Totally.
Like right now, I'll look at the times, make sure we're recording. Yeah, because I've had the thing shut off a couple times. But there is a lot to think about. But I don't know. It's just so cool to like, because I know so many people. Just to sort of be able to like, here's Dan. Everybody here, this is who he is.
Yeah.
If you haven't met him, this is who you are.
Well, and it's awesome watching, like, I haven't watched like the YouTube version of this podcast, but I've listened to all of them, right? And these are like, as I said before, I'm like, you've interviewed all these people who I'm like, I admire like so much. And it's so cool to see them sit down and I kind of tell them your story. Like I never knew about Israel and like his crazy past in Mexico. Like,
yeah,
it kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
And like the guys from Hanks and like the Village guys, like, it's just so cool to like,
there's been quite a bunch of stuff that just I'm thankful for everyone that I know, because there's so many good people.
Well, it's vice versa. Like it's been amazing knowing you over the years, and like, every time you post about us, like it's amazing to see you do that for the community, right? And
Well, thank you.
yeah,
And I legitimately, like I think I've said before that, like I've never made any money off this, not even a cent.
yeah,
And I don't want to, I don't aspire to ever. But if I can do anything to help somebody and they're a good person, I know them, even if I don't know them, if they're doing a good thing or good stuff, then I'm happy to do it.
Well, this is like the influencer thing in Victoria. Like I think you were kind of in a league of your own. Like you're never asking for free stuff. You're always like, no, let me pay for this. I want to support you, right? I mean, that's amazing to see, right? Not only do you have an Instagram account that reaches thousands of people, but like you're genuinely like wanting to support any kind of food venture, which is like, it's very cool to see. So
I think it's important.
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
part of it for me is that I have my full-time job, and then this is just a hobby. So I can do it as it's just a way to help people.
Yeah,
like
it's
I just want to bring as much value as I can to anybody. Like you, I want everyone to try your ice cream.
I appreciate that.
Everybody needs to try the ice cream, because if you haven't and you eat ice cream, then I think you're making a mistake.
I appreciate that.
It's really, really important that people try it. And when you're doing flavors, how much in advance are you planning?
Yeah, so that is something I need to work on.
Okay.
It's like I
just flying by the seat of your pants?
A little bit, and which is never a good idea, especially like when I look at my calendar, I'm like, next week is my delivery week and I don't know what I'm making. And then there's always that pressure. I'm like, I have to come up with something new. So like luckily a couple of weeks ago, we did that collaboration with Chelsea at Sydney Scones, and she's like, let's do a peach ice cream with cream cheese. I'm like, okay. So I tried it, worked out. I'm like, I'm running out of ideas for my subscribers. Let's do a peach cream cheese ice cream. So we made, a bunch of that. And luckily that idea came from her.
Have you ever done like cheesecake?
I did a strawberry ice cream with cheesecake chunks in it. So I basically made a cheesecake without the crust and then just like froze it, chopped up in little bits and threw that in.
Oh, dude, that would have been insane.
I love brownies and ice cream.
Oh yeah.
That's we did one of the philanthropints with Discovery Coffee was like a coffee ice cream with brownie bits.
Have you ever done a mint version of that?
Mint with brownie?
Yeah.
No.
Because I think that would be ridiculous.
That would be good. We could call it Dallas.
Because like I'm thinking about, I mentioned it last podcast with Andrew, but the mint chocolate cookie at the Hot and Cold Cafe.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me too. Yeah.
Yeah, like
get some of those.
Something like that in ice cream form, I think would just be out of this world. Yeah. Which is kind of like, I think that's what that would be with that brownie.
Yeah. No, I love brownies and ice cream. It's one of those things that like when you freeze it, it's like super dense, chewy. It doesn't break apart.
So it's easy to work with.
Super easy to work with. Like I generally under bake it just a titch. So you still get a little bit of that like gooiness. But once you freeze it, it kind of hardens up a bit and it's perfect in ice cream.
So around the city during COVID and all of this, have you been eating anywhere?
We did takeout from a couple places. We did, I think it was like an Italian inspired meal from Ferris's.
Yep.
That was really good.
Did they have the video for that?
No.
Okay. Oh no, sorry. I'm thinking about way back. There was they did one where it was 5 courses and they had like a video explaining each course.
Oh, cool.
And so
was that the like beer pairing?
Yes.
One? Yeah. I think I saw that somewhere. No,
so it was just a normal takeout.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just 2 dishes. I've been to Nowhere, I think once.
Nowhere is so insane.
It's my favorite place to go.
Did you get the drink pairing when you went?
We did.
Yeah.
Which was probably a mistake.
Why?
The pours are like we had the wine pairing.
Yeah.
And the pours were like solid pours.
So you didn't do the cocktail one with like everything?
No.
Okay.
No, we did the I think they only do the tasting menu right now.
Yes.
And then we did the wine pairing. But yeah, my wife and I were pretty sloshed at the end of that.
I feel like like if you go and you're able to drink alcohol, then I would say it's almost like mandatory, because it takes like some of the dishes that I've had, when you have them alone, it's one thing, but as soon as you have a little bit of whatever they're pairing with it, it just takes that dish to another level.
Well, it's I think they think it out like that, right? Like we know, maybe that's even how it starts. Like we have this drink that has these kind of notes in it. Let's make a dish around it. And that's one thing, like it's so amazing to see like how all of them, even like Laura, like she just does stuff. She makes pasta with whatever is here, right? And like,
Yeah, like they had pasta made from squid.
yeah,
Like I don't even know how you do that.
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
So yeah, they're magicians in there.
And was there anywhere else you've gone lately, or what about? Because I know you like kuma noodle.
I love I do love kuma noodle.
Have you been there?
Yeah, we've been there. That's actually one place we go to quite regularly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's good there? Because I've only been once, and I forget what I had.
So they have. I always go with the ramen. They've got 3 different broths: miso, salt, and soy.
Mm-hmm.
I always go with the soy. And then the key there, I like a runny yolk, and the eggs that they have in the ramen are like boiled to death. So I always get a side egg. They just fry a little egg, and I always say leave it runny, and they plunk that on top, and it's like once you poke it and all goes in, that's the best part.
So that's the move.
That's the move. I also like corn in my ramen.
Okay.
So I always had that added in.
Actually, yeah, I think I want to say that because the first meal Anton and I had in Japan was ramen.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there was corn in that.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well.
I love it.
Yeah.
No, it's
Again, that's probably a texture thing, right?
probably, no, it's, yeah. For me, corn is always an add-in. I also like to get extra meat.
It's not a bad move.
It's not a bad move. It's like super fatty, but for a little treat, ramen every couple of weeks, it's like,
No, it's fine.
it's the best thing. So
Yeah.
I love how close it is to where we are too. So we just go down the street and pick it up. And
One thing I've saw that was open again, I think it's been open for a while that they've been doing them, is the burrito bowl at Whole Foods.
oh yeah,
Have you had those?
Yeah, I've had that.
They're such a good deal.
That is the best deal. Yeah,
I literally tell people it's like the best deal in the city for
it
food.
is. Yeah, I don't even know how much is it.
So if you get the punch card, it works out to be like $8.
Yeah, it's great.
After you do the redemption for a pound of organic food.
No, it's very good.
It's crazy. But I went in last week. I didn't know if they were doing it because I never do the buffet thing because I've spent like $40 on a meal there.
Yeah, it adds up quick.
Yeah. Actually, I will say if they had the buffet, people have always said go get bacon because they do it by weight.
Oh,
And bacon doesn't weigh anything. So you can get a huge box of bacon for like nothing. A pro tip, I guess.
yeah.
But yeah, those burrito bowls are such a good deal, and you have to do the punch card if you get them.
I do. I just actually found a punch card like yesterday cleaning up.
Really?
Had like 3 punches on it, so I need to
Oh, beautiful.
keep going on that.
Yeah, just go and just get a bunch.
Absolutely.
I buy them like I went a couple nights ago, got one, and then I got one for the next day
Might as well.
because I've
Meal
been lazy.
planning.
Yeah, I haven't been meal prepping.
Yeah, but neither have we. We've been doing these what are they called? Like meal kit delivery things,
Okay.
which has been working out pretty well. But
And which one is that?
we do fresh prep right now
Okay.
from Vancouver.
And how have you found that? It's been good?
Pretty good. The one thing, my main complaint is every time you open up a bag, it's got like 37 ingredients. And you're like, these are not 20-minute meals. Like the prep time takes a long time to actually make it
And the end result is good though?
mostly good. But it's just like the number of ingredients just drives me bananas because it's.
How do they do it? How is it packaged?
Some things like onions and stuff will be chopped. But a lot of stuff you still have to do. Like they have a lot of these Asian inspired sauces. So it's, and they have soy sauce and white wine vinegar and sugar and this and that. And by the time you make the sauce, it's you've used like 12 ingredients
Oh, I see.
and several bowls. But just the convenience of having it delivered to your house and not having to go to the grocery store, not having to look through recipe books, like just having all that is
There's something
totally,
about that.
Totally.
Like
So,
the meal kit, the only one I've done is the one from the village.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not a very good cook, but when they made it that simple with what they did, and I like the instructions, the way they were sort of personalized, or not personalized, but there was some personality in them.
Yeah.
Like the end result, like I was like, oh my, I can't believe I made
can
this.
cook. I can
Yeah,
cook.
like this was really good, and they made it easy,
Yeah.
and I loved it.
Well, that's the key. Like everybody's got so much going on. Like any way to make it a little bit easier is definitely the way to go. So,
And when you were working out like pre-COVID, you were doing this sort of the hit style,
yeah.
because that's what I really enjoy.
Yeah, I like it too. And it's like every day was different. They would have like a pull day, a push day.
Mhm.
So, every day was a little bit different. They had different trainers with different styles. And like every day, you never knew what you'd be walking into, and keep you on your toes.
And so is it like an hour long class?
It's an hour long, yeah.
And it's just like hard the entire time.
Yeah, you get in, warm up, and then your heart rate is just pumping. You walk out drenched.
You feel so good afterwards.
And it's I'm done at 7. Like, it's not far from here. I'm home by like 7:10. Shower, get going. Like, sometimes my kids are still asleep, and like I love that.
I think there's something about like the fact you went and did that, and like you're saying some people are still asleep, like, and you've already got out there and crushed it.
Totally.
Pushing like to your limits or whatever, and people aren't even up yet. There's something like psychologically about that like to me it's like this cool thing.
Well, just like
It's satisfying.
I loved it even more like the wintertime when you go outside. Like, you finished at 7, it's still dark out.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been up for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, I've been working hard. Most people are still sleeping, maybe. But yeah, checking that off every morning, it was very rewarding.
Yeah, have you ever seen Jocko on Instagram?
Yeah. He's a little intense. He's intense. Every morning at like 4.
It's like 4:33 every single morning.
Yeah.
And then just like a pool of sweat.
Yeah, I'm not quite there, but
But you were doing 5 days a week?
5 days a week, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I was questioning if that was too much. Just like, I'm not the youngest anymore. I'm like, am I getting enough time to recover? But I was feeling pretty good. I got injured when all that stopped, right? Mm-hmm. So I wonder if like that was just keeping everything maintained, everything going.
Well, I'm wondering like with my back, because I've never had these issues. I'm wondering if it's because like I'm not doing deadlifts anymore. I'm not strengthening my core. I'm not doing any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been going to the gym.
So do you know what the issue is? Disc or muscle? Or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to BackFit for a while, and they were like, do you know about BackFit? Mm-hmm. Where they sort of put more space between your vertebrae?
Yeah, decompression.
Yeah, exactly, on the different tables and that stuff. And it did make a difference. But I stopped that when COVID hit. Yeah. Because I didn't want to go in the room with other people. I don't know. I'm being cautious, I guess.
Yeah, I've been going to this place where they do traction, not using machines, just the physio's like body weight. But then I'm also doing IMS.
I love IMS.
So this is like, I was in so much pain. I had one session, and the next morning I was like, jumped out of bed. I was like, I can move. Well,
the crazy thing about IMS is that like they target specifically the muscles that are seized up. Mm-hmm. And I remember that one of the first times I went, my left calf was bothering me. Yeah. And it's the only time it ever hurt. Like, I've had it done probably 40 times or something. Yeah. And it never hurt after this, but it was like excruciating the first day on my left calf. The next week when I went back, she did it again, and it like, I didn't feel anything. It was good. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing that when you get like that release of the muscle, like if they do the one in your neck.
I've only done back.
Okay. So you haven't had like the neck, because there's one in the trap here that it's happened multiple times where she put the needle in, it releases, and she could see the whole thing travel up my neck as it released. Wow. And like my face is jumping off the table.
Yeah. Well, some of them, like there's one I got hit like right in this, like felt like it was right in my spine. I was like, oh.
There's I think around the spine is a delicate area.
It's very delicate.
You have to be careful.
I get one in my glute.
Yeah.
And then
I've had that.
My legs, I have like nerve damage from that injury. So yeah, she put a needle just below my calf, and she's like, did that hurt? I'm like, I couldn't even feel it. But yeah, so I do that once a week, and it's been a game changer.
Do you ever, when she does your leg, do you ever have your leg like shoot off the side of the table? No,
not yet.
Oh, I've had that.
I need to ask for that one.
Well, it's just like uncontrollable.
It's
like
these impulses.
These strong things happen.
Totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the first time I've done IMS was this year. So
okay. And I guess for people that don't know what it is, it's like acupuncture.
It's acupuncture,
but you're going into a seized up muscle, not a pressure point.
That's right. And I think what she was explaining is like acupuncture is like, to create the most chi, you want to actually go the furthest away from what's ailing you. Whereas with IMS, it's like you're targeting specific areas, right?
Yeah.
I think she also digs a little deeper in IMS.
Yeah, it's like they put the needle in, and then they sort of like flick it or something.
Flick it, yeah.
And then the muscle, it's like opens.
Yeah.
It's so insane.
Yeah. And I just lie there for like a couple minutes, and then she comes back and takes them all out, and away I go. A new person.
The best is if you get like the IMS, but then you get a massage after.
Yeah, I've never done that. I should do that.
That's a killer combo.
It's a pro tip.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the way to go. It's it's amazing. I think self-care is really important.
Yeah,
and maintenance.
Definitely. Yeah, be that physical or emotional or like any of that, right? It's
100%.
taking care of your body and your mind, and
yeah,
for sure.
I want to ask you, what's been the biggest lesson that you've learned, you think, like over the course of having 49 Below and everything that you've done?
Yeah, for me, like being able to wear multiple hats and managing your time and, all these other commitments that are going on, just, when it's time to make ice cream, it's time to make ice cream for me. And I have to think about thousands of different things. And I always say, like, I always feel like I'm throwing like 10 balls in the air and I'm trying not to drop any, but it's like prioritization and just, wearing different hats, be it, in the kitchen, making ice cream, or on the business end, like doing all the financial stuff or the social media stuff, and just learning everything and anything that I can and outsourcing anything that I can't or don't have time to do. Right. So it's just, constantly learning, constantly trying new things.
And do you find that challenging to be able to acknowledge, like, I can't take this on right now or do that, or it's going to outsource?
Yeah. So like having somebody kind of take care of the social media stuff has been a huge relief, because it's like, thinking about what to post and when to post and what hashtags to use just takes up so much time that I could be using to make a product that I can sell, right? Like at the end of the day, like I need to be making ice cream that I can sell, not thinking of a pretty picture to post on Instagram, right? The priorities are, what can I sell, not what can I post, right?
I wonder if that frees up like part of your brain, like your creative space. You don't have to worry about that side.
Yeah.
So you can throw it all at the ice cream.
Totally. Like I've been playing more with flavors now that I've had help. Like even having someone come in and like help cook, and I can come in and I've got, 100 liters of like base that I can just play with, versus like me having to cook and then come back the next day and do it. And it definitely frees up brain cells to focus on the business as a whole.
I'm still trying to think of flavors that like I think would be wild. You ever done one like what are those freezies that used to be able to get at like the ice cream truck, like the rainbow colored thing?
Like blue raspberry.
I forget what they're called.
Red, white, and blue.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. We did one. It was like I forget what we called it. It was like peanut butter and chocolate ice cream, but we did it separately. So we had two machines going at all times, and then when we put it into the container, we would do one scoop of one scoop of the other, and you had this like layered kind of black and white ice cream. Any ideas? Let me know.
I'll have to see. I think the chocolate brownie or the mint brownie
That'd be a good one.
would be killer.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really good.
That's an easy one to do. We can tackle that one easily.
Is there anything we haven't mentioned you can think of?
I think we've covered
a lot.
Covered a lot, yeah.
So if people want to find out more about 49 Below, where should they go?
Best is probably our Instagram, which is at 49 Below. Same for Facebook. Our website's 49below.ca.
Okay.
Find us there.
Everyone needs to try the ice cream. If you haven't done it, go to one of the stores, sign up for the subscription, buy off the website.
I appreciate that.
Just whatever you do. And if you do, like the other day, I had some gelato or something, and I left it out for a day, and it turned to crap, and it shrunk, and it was awful. So if you do leave your ice cream out, it's not going to shrink.
It'll shrink a little bit, but
not much.
Minor shrinkage.
I love it, dude.
Little innuendo to end things.
If you're looking for what I'm doing, you can go to VicFoodGuys.ca or look up VicFoodGuys on Instagram. I would appreciate it if you made it this far. If you give a like, subscription, comment, whatever on the platform that you're consuming this on, that would be awesome. And I will see you all next Tuesday. Dan, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Bye.